When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast that Reynolds describes as woof, woof, rough, woof, bark, rough, rough.
And licky, lick.
Lick.
Licky,
lick,
boom,
lick,
boom, down.
Ew. It's my dog we're talking about.
I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
And we're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today, we're live.
We're live. We're live streaming this episode. If you're hearing this on the normal episode publishing date, you missed it.
Yeah.
That's your bad. And we like the people that joined us on the live stream better than you.
Yeah, exactly. You might be dead to us. And I don't know. I hope you realize what you've done.
We're doing this because we wrote a book and we won't fucking shut up about it ever since we wrote it. So
yeah,
I have some rosé here that I'm going to start drinking. Ooh, hey, Mike.
We wrote a book. 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 That
covers us for the next 15 minutes, in which case we'll mention it again.
Yep, absolutely. Also, this is a very interesting setup. I hope everybody can hear us. It's on the live stream. They said yes, they can hear us. Great, magical. If you want to participate, then please post your live questions as comments on the Facebook stream on the event itself. Derek is monitoring those and is going to alert us. Also on the left side of the screen there, you can see the URL for our website's page about the book. We won't shut up about gayishpodcast.com/book. It has all the information on there. I highly suggest that you check it out and then buy it.
Yeah.
And then come to a live show because those are happening too as part of the book.
We are on this episode talking about books. So we are doing a full episode that we'll be talking about things other than our own book.
We're going to talk about books. Yeah, that's absolutely true. The other thing I was going to say is that I am presently in Irvine, California, in the greater Los Angeles area. And this is the first time that we've live streamed remote from each other. So I'm very much reaching the limits of my technical capabilities. Hopefully the whole thing doesn't just, I was going to say light on fire, but I'm in LA, so maybe I shouldn't say that. We're live, everybody.
Yeah. No, you're doing great, Mike. You're doing real great.
Thanks. What else do we want to say, Kyle? How do you feel? How's your life? How's your melon?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling proud. I'm feeling relieved. I'm feeling anxious. Yeah. I'm feeling love because we've seen people post them with their books. Mm-hmm. So I'm feeling a lot of feelings right now.
Yeah.
How about you?
All the feelings. And I'm sure I'll talk about it more later, but all the feelings on top of having just a clusterfuck of life right now. But we'll get into it. We'll talk about books later. But first, here's the news.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
All right. Kyle, you really, really, really need to get your Everything's Bad and You Should Feel Bad song on repeat.
It is that I just need to record a voice memo with that so I can just play it so I don't have to say it anymore, because it's going to be every news segment I'm guessing for the next 4 years is going to be that song.
Probably. Isn't that great? Oh God. Well, okay. News the first, Kyle.
Okay, good thing I'm drinking wine for this one. Yeah, what's news the first?
I recommend drinking more wine. Just keep going. By the end of the stream, I want you to very much need to stream yourself into the toilet, just like democracy. Okay, so as one of his first executive orders since returning to office on Monday, President Dickbag Fuckface Asshole declared that the federal government 2024 award-winning Dickbag Fuckface Asshole
Award-winning asshole.
Declared that the federal government would no longer recognize transgender people. The sweeping directive titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology, Extremism, and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government defines sex as strictly male or female based on the immutable biological reality of sex characteristics at birth. I dug into it a little bit. I read the actual order, and one of the things that's in there is it defines female as the as someone who at the moment of conception was the large sex gamete producing sex. And I posted it to my fucking Facebook page. Like,
this is how I know some of the text of the actual order is because of your post to Facebook. Your post to Facebook, as well as this news segment, keeps me up to date on everything I need to know.
Well, if I had my way, see our Patreon bonus episode this month on cults, everyone would just listen to me always, and I would have total power over them, and maybe get to fuck them on the side sometimes. So it's female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell, and male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell. Here's the thing, Kyle. Anybody who took fucking high school sex ed and isn't an idiot learned, knows, look it up. All fetuses start out female. All fetuses start out female. It is later that the Y chromosome kicks in, and because of a very complex series of things, it is not just as simple as having a Y chromosome. You then turn male. But at the moment of conception, we all female. So I'm announcing right now, Kyle, that I am female.
According to the government, we're all females.
I guess so.
Wow, the women rule the world. I didn't know this was going to turn pro-women. Go women. You did it. We're all women.
Yeah. We are all women.
The feminist agenda has been achieved.
Fucking goddamn. I hate that motherfucker so much. I just do. Yeah. And there's like this weird pressure that I felt 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, and then for the 4 years that he was in the office to like at least respect the office or whatever. I give zero fucks. Fuck this, fuck him, fuck everyone. No, it's an absolute travesty. I hate that motherfucker, and I'm okay with people knowing that I hate him because Patti LuPone said it on camera, so now I can.
Whatever Patti LuPone does, we follow in her stead.
Yeah. Yep. It's my understanding that some people are interpreting this executive order to mean that those non-binary folks in the United States who are lucky to have a passport printed with an X gender marker on it are now without a passport, or potentially without a passport. So that's super fucked. And it also means, depending on who you ask, that transgender women who are in prison are going to be forced to repopulate into male prisons.
Ew, that sucks.
It sucks. It not only sucks, it's dangerous. That's the thing. Like these women are going to get sexually assaulted and or killed in that environment. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone, that apparently like fourth grade biology is how we make decisions now. It's embarrassing. I am very sorry. And I told myself I wasn't going to cry on our live stream, but hey, whatever.
Hey, whatever. That's going to be how you end up every news segment from here on out.
Oh God, it's just the worst, Kyle.
Yeah.
Just the worst. News the second.
Oh, great.
Do you have more? Do you want to? I don't have to move on that quickly. We can sit in this shit pot.
No, please move on. Well, whatever you say next isn't going to help. So I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, go on. We please move on.
Okay. News the second. There's a dude named Dirk Daner. Do you know who that is?
I do not. Sounds like a porn name. He
is a co-founder of the Tom of Finland Foundation, which those cartoons and drawings of Tom of Finland, of like the hypermasculine dudes with like extreme hypermasculine characteristics that are part of the drawing. Like,
yeah, they're all leather dudes usually.
Dudes with bulgy muscles and giant dicks and like wearing all kinds of leather, stuff like that. Anyway, he announced on a Thursday Facebook post that he is stepping down as the nonprofit's president and had submitted his resignation to the board of directors, which they then accepted. It's all because pictures surfaced where he is seen wearing various Nazi symbols on different occasions.
It's as bad as I thought.
Yeah, uniforms with Nazi symbols, and then some reports that he also has used like racist and white supremacist language before. So now he said, quote, "I've violated my own code of ethics and know that more consciousness is required in a world that does not necessarily like who we are as a people. Please accept my most heartfelt apology." But this is all after International Men of Leather ousted him, and they removed him as a judge because of these photos, and then that sort of snowballed and turned into him ending up losing his job at Tom of Finland.
Yikes. Now, Nazis are taking over this country.
Yep, absolutely. Now, one thing that's really interesting to me, like, okay, Nazis are bad, everybody. I just want to
Great, let's start there. Like, I'm worried about what you're going to say next.
Go ahead and punch a Nazi. I just know that, like, fetish night, we've gone to fetish night at the bar called Cece's in Seattle from time to time, and they have themed fetish nights. And so you could just roll in with whatever gear you want, but you could also fit the theme for that month. And I went one year when the theme was uniforms. And there were a lot of people that were in, like, baseball uniforms, that kind of uniform. But most of the people that were adhering to the theme were in, like, they looked like security officers or they looked like police officers, which this is it was before George Floyd, which doesn't make it that much better, but at least it wasn't quite so, like, we didn't live in an ACAB world then as much, in my opinion. But there was this dude who was very sexy. He was very tall, and he was wearing a brown uniform that I was like, that kind of looks like a Nazi uniform. And he didn't have any of the regalia on it, but it seemed like a Nazi uniform. Or like Nazi adjacent, at least. Yeah. And I think what I get torn about is, I think clearly going out to a fetish night and wearing that, not okay. I would think probably not okay to even wear a policeman's uniform at this point for all the reasons that I was just alluding to.
Yeah, I agree.
But then there's also this, like, what people do in the privacy of their own home, I think should still be okay. So if these pictures, I have not seen the pictures, I've not pursued that, but if these pictures are like him hanging out at a gay bar with a fucking swastika on his jacket, that's one kind of heinous. And if it was like in his house for some, like, scene that was a sexy thing that, like, whoever involved was consenting to and into, I don't know that then should lead to him being totally, canceled and kicked out of the community and everything. So I'm just but you don't take photos of that. Like, you don't need to have photos of you wearing if you're super into Nazis, I guess, or police officers. I completely agree that you can do what you want in the privacy of your home, and you don't need photos or videos of that. Yeah. I'm with you. Also, because don't take photos of anything you don't want the world to see, because the world we live in, shit gets hacked and shit gets released, and we also live in a world now that everyone has a camera this big that's really, really good on them at all times, so that those photographs might not have been consented to. But this is such an edge case, though. Dude's probably a fucking Nazi, and fuck him. Like good riddance to bad rubbish. Yeah. Oh God, Kyle. News the third, which is actually kind of an update. Ooh. At 2024 Dickbag Fuckface Asshole Award winner, whose inauguration on Monday, the Village People performed. Mm-hmm. Now, this is wild. So, for about 50 years, the Village People have been a visible, immediate gay culture icon. And that's despite the fact that one of the founders is not gay. Now, Mr. Willis, I've talked about before on the show, And he's in denial. He says that YMCA has nothing to do with gayness or gay sex or gay people, which he's just wrong about.
Out of your hands, dude. Into ours. We decide that.
But the reason that he is... the reason that his opinion matters more is not in whether he gets to decide what a gay icon is or not, or a gay anthem is or not, or whether he has the... he can spit in the wind all he wants to on that. But apparently he owns both the Village People as a group, their name, and all of those songs. So it's up to him, and he's a Trump apologist. Now, he hasn't come out and said that he voted for Trump at all, but he did say, first, I forgot about this one, quote, "I will sue the next media organization or anyone else that falsely suggests that YMCA is somehow about illicit gay sex." Hey, dude, YMCA is about illicit gay sex. Fuck off. Sue us.
Bring it on, because, yeah. What are you going to do? We're allowed to interpret media. That's our freedom of that's not freedom of expression because that's protection for the government. But, we're allowed to interpret media how we want and talk about it. Yep.
At least for now. I didn't see an executive order about that. Anyway, so the Trump campaign...
Can you imagine a YMCA executive order? Executive order from the Trump desk. YMCA not gay. Yeah. Officially not gay.
A friend of mine posted to my Facebook page about the Indiana pie controversy or law. Apparently the state of Indiana tried to legislate that the value of pi, the mathematical symbol pi, was a different value than it actually is.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It almost passed, except then this professor came and convinced their Senate not to vote it in because it was wrong. It was mathematically wrong, but they were about to declare it. And this smacks of that a little bit, this whole, there are only two genders thing, because there's just not, no matter how much you want there to be. Anyway, so the Trump campaign started using YMCA, started using Macho Man, and this Willis dude who owns those songs and owns the Village People said, quote, "He has remained respectful in his use of our songs and has not crossed the line," whatever the line is. But then he was also like, "Fuck you, I'm getting paid." Quote, "YMCA has benefited greatly from use by the president-elect. For example, YMCA was stuck at number 2 on the Billboard chart prior to president-elect's use. However, the song finally made it to number 1 on a Billboard chart after over 45 years and held on to number 1 for 2 weeks due to the president-elect's use. The financial benefits have been great as well, as YMCA is estimated to gross several $1 million since the president-elect's continued use of the song. Therefore, I'm glad I allowed the president-elect's continued use of YMCA, and I thank him for choosing to use my song." And
if I would make millions of dollars from President Trump using something of mine, I would cave so fast. Give me that million, buddy.
Yep. If he decided to buy all of our books and distribute them to, I don't know, the army as what not to do.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I would be down.
Yeah.
Anyway, the remaining Village People who aren't dead but don't control the songs or the name of the band are upset and trying to say, hey, we know that there's a huge gay following and this is probably hurting the queer community and we're really sorry, but legally it's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do. Don't hate us. So anyway, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a weird thing.
Yeah. And that's the news.
Speaking of weird things, I want to thank the people that signed up for our Patreon. Thank you to Knox Sutterfield. And thank you. Knox is a hot name. Good for you. And so too, Patrick.
Yeah.
Thank you to Patrick. Too. That's true. All our Patreon members are probably really hot because you have to be really hot and full of money and full of grace and poise and dignity to be a Patreon member.
In fact, let's not confuse the cause and effect relationship here. If you want to be hot, give us your money.
Exactly. And that's the only way. Don't go to the gym. Cancel your gym membership. Give what you would have paid your gym to us, and that'll pay for it. If you want ad-free episodes a day early, if you want to use Mike's hole,
use my hole.
If you want bonus content, like this month, as Mike mentioned, we did a bonus episode about cults. You can go to patreon.com/Gayish podcast.
Cults.
Jesus. Did it say? As we discuss on the episode, apparently I say cults weird to where you think it's the football team, but cults.
Yes, well done.
Jesus.
All right, Kyle, do you want to talk about books?
Let's talk about books.
Okay, let's talk about books. Okay. I think we're going to break up on live TV right now.
Oh my God. Are you going to do it?
Kyle, what is a book?
Okay, this is actually not a terrible question because there's different sizes of things are called different things. So there's like a certain page number that books are on average. I don't think, is there an exact definition of how many pages it has to be a book?
No. And in fact, most definitions that I have found just say that it needs to be pages that are sewn together on one side so that they open like a book opens. And that's what distinguishes them from like scrolls or other kinds of bindings.
Mike, do you think this is, I just want to know, do you think this is helpful or interesting?
No, it's not.
Okay, then I think there's a new criteria I'm going to set for anything we talk about on the podcast. Okay. You got to ask yourself, is this helpful or interesting? And if no, then we can't talk about it.
Okay, well, it does lead into the next thing I want to talk about, though.
Oh, okay. If it forms a good segue, then maybe that's okay.
Yeah. Well, books didn't really become mainstream until like the printing press was invented, right? And then that's when they became like available. Like people could buy them because there were enough of them. The cost came down enough that like it was reasonable for a normal person, Industrial Revolution forward, to like have a book in their home. And literacy rates went way up too. It wasn't just a religious function anymore. And so we start to see gay stuff in books as that sort of expands. And
I'm sorry, are we doing the history of books?
We're doing the history of books, Kyle.
Okay, sure.
But more importantly, of gay books. So the reason that it's important to ask the question, what is a book? There is a magazine called the Gay and Lesbian Review Worldwide, and it is a literary magazine about literature that did a reader study, a reader survey. And the question that they went after was, what was the first gay novel? That was what they were trying to ascertain by going to their readership. And they discovered immediately two big problems. The first was that the concept of a book is hard enough to pin down, much less what a novel is. What makes a novel a novel? That might have something to do with page count. I'm not sure. But so not only is it hard to pin down like what a novel is, it's also then hard to pin down what does it mean for that novel to be gay. So like there are books fairly early on, the earliest of which is 1805, where there is like incidental gayness, but is just like having like...
That's my memoir, Incidental Gayness.
Incidental gayness?
Yeah.
you're probably gayish, Kyle. Duke Augustus of Saxe-Gotha-Altenburg wrote a novel called Killenion, Ein Jahr in Arkadien, a year in Acadia. But it's in ancient Greece, and it features several couples, including a gay one, and fall in love, overcome obstacles, and live happily ever after. And but it's like they were just like ancillary characters, you know?
Oh,
like
yeah. How gay does it have to be for it to count as the first gay one?
Exactly. Does it just have to mention butt sex? Does it have to have like a gay character? Does that character need to have any sort of development at all? And we're going to talk more about this in a later segment. But I thought it was interesting that they went after this and like crowdsourced the answer, right? Like it's the kind of thing you would expect would just have there's a correct answer. We know what it was. And
yeah.
It's it's not that cut and dry. It's not that easy. There are 3 books. The number 1 book that was chosen by that survey is called Maurice by E.M. Forster. And it's wild and might not count, in part because it was written in 1913, but then he revised it in 1932, revised it again in 1952, each time changing the ending. And because he didn't want it to be published, it wasn't published until after he died in 1971. So technically it's a 1971 book, but he wrote it in 1913. Should that count? Does that count?
I think the publishing date is what counts, because as I've now learned as a published author, that's all that matters.
As a published author. So the plot summary of that book, Maurice Hall, who's a 14-year-old boy, discusses sex and women with his prep school teacher, Ben Ducey, just before Maurice progresses to his public school. And he makes it clear that he just doesn't understand why getting married to a woman would be the goal of life.
Yeah, I get you.
I get you, Maurice. He returns home and he learns that George, who is this boy that he used to play with, and that George doesn't live there anymore. He went home and George has moved on, and he becomes heartbroken and doesn't know why, and is trying to figure out, why do I feel like this? And then later he studies at Cambridge, and he befriends a fellow student named Clive. And Clive introduces him to the ancient Greeks, and we know that the Greeks had lots of butt sex.
Oh, yeah.
And so then this is interesting. This is from the Wikipedia synopsis. Quote, after a short time, the two begin a romantic but completely platonic relationship.
Wait. Those 2 words seem at odds to me.
Yeah. So apparently it was that he and Clive, Maurice and Clive, were like functionally a couple in that they did everything together and spent all of their time together and did things that romantic couples do, but that did not include sex. That did not include making out or banging. And I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that would be as confusing today.
Right. We have like labels for things, like maybe they were asexual but not a romantic, and like we have like various labels that could explain identities, I feel like, better today than we ever have before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Well, so they eventually Clive says, hey, Maurice, I'm sorry, but I'm heterosexual and I'm going to get married to a woman. and Clive is devastated, and they break up, and Maurice has to figure out like what to do with that. So he does a bunch of weird jobs that don't make a lot of sense, but he eventually
hand jobs, blow jobs, many jobs.
Well, he works at a Christian missions boxing gym for working class boys, which that was probably a lot of like eye candy that I don't know was going to help Clive or Maurice get over Clive.
Yeah. Yeah. Like signing up for wrestling in high school, like that wouldn't help.
Yeah. But he comes to terms that he could never be with Clive because he's heterosexual, and so it just wasn't meant to be, and so he eventually processes that and gets over him. But not really, because he makes an appointment with a hypnotist and asks him to hypnotize him and cure him of his gayness.
Aww.
The hypnotist's name is Mr. Lasker Jones, and he says that you have congenital homosexuality, and I can cure about 50% success rate people who undergo hypnosis so that they don't feel this way. It says after the first appointment, it is clear that hypnotism has failed.
Still like that dick.
So anyway, he has a couple of other like paramours, and then Mr. Forster wrote like 3 endings to this thing, and so there's like almost a choose your own adventure of what happens to Maurice, depending on which version of the book that you read, but he said that he didn't want that to be released until he was dead, and so they didn't. He died in 1970, and they released it in 1971. And it's interesting too, I think, because I think he was straight.
Huh.
He had a bunch of gay friends, but and his heart went out to them in a lot of ways. But I believe that he was straight.
He was just a really chill ally, like early back in the day.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Anyway, that is arguably the first gay novel, and I thought it was pretty interesting. The other options were The Portrait of Dorian Gray, which we've talked about on the show a couple of times, but I don't know. I don't know if, have you read it? Are you familiar with it or the no? Well, so Oscar Wilde wrote it, and it has a bunch of homoerotic overtones to it. And then the other one that got brought up was The City and the Pillar, which was a novel by Gore Vidal, which he wrote in 1946. Gore Vidal was soups gay. So this one has going for it the fact that it was pretty early. He was gay, writing about gay things, and so yeah. Anyway, that's the history, Kyle. That's as much as history as you're going to get on this live stream tonight.
That's lots of history that I didn't expect to get.
Yeah.
So I always learn something in your history segments. So thank you for that, Mike.
Okay, don't patronize me, Kyle.
Man, I'm such a sarcastic person that I can't even sound earnest without coming across as patronizing. Okay, I'm going to talk about more current things. I'm going to move over to book bans.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Uppity.
How do you feel? What's your immediate reaction when I say book bans?
Well, gross. I think of white Christian Karens who like are trying to stop kids from being gay by like stopping them from knowing anything about it. Like the way that my parents raised me and my brothers, and thank God, I really appreciate this about them. It was consume whatever content you want to. Like their job was to make us good consumers of content so that we were discerning and thought about it. And I am so firmly on the side of I don't give a fuck what it is. If a kid wants to read it, let them. And
yeah,
but that's just me. There are a lot of parents that can't handle that.
Yeah, I think especially these days where information is so readily available that you're not going to stop your kid from finding information. You can try, you can ban stuff, you can tell them not to do stuff, you can set rules, you can set parental controls on stuff, but they're going to find ways around your parental controls. They're going to do shit they're going to get it from a friend. They're like, I feel like kids are going to find information. They're smarter at you than with technology. And I think you're totally right that making them good consumers of information is the more important goal. I'm not a parent. I'm a dog parent. I don't have to worry about that with Reynolds. The worst thing that he consumes is some poop in the bushes.
I mean, when he consumes a novel, he consumes it. Like, nom.
Exactly. The dog ate my homework. Okay. In 2023, this is all data that I have from 2023 from the American Library Association, which seems like a pretty good authority on book stuff. They said that there were 4,240 unique titles that were targeted for removal or restriction from libraries and schools.
Ugh.
That seems like a shit ton of books to me. That is, and it is, because that is up 65% from 2022. What's that heavy sigh for?
Just we're losing the culture war, and it's very upsetting.
There are always setbacks in the culture war, but I think we're in a moment of setback, but I don't want to cast too much of a like dark shadow on what's happening right now. You want to like it sucks, and I don't want people to stop feeling that, but I also feel like we're making forward progress in the bigger picture, and I don't want to take away from that either, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anyway, public libraries, the places that these came from, public libraries had a 92% increase in challenges, and school libraries had an 11% increase. So these are mainly coming from public libraries. This is the highest total number of targeted books since the American Library Association started collecting data more than 20 years ago. 47% of the titles targeted were about either the LGBTQ community or people of color.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is everything was caveated by the fact that this data is just a snapshot of the true data. It is likely that this data is underreported because it's not all censorship attempts are like captured or covered by the press. So anyway, the American Library Association president, Emily Drabinski, says, quote, libraries that reflect their community's diversity promote learning and empathy that some people want to hide or eliminate. Libraries are vital institutions to each and every community in this country, and library professionals who have dedicated their lives to protecting our right to read are facing threats to their employment and well-being. Which the last part, the threat to their, not just jobs, but to their well-being, that's a real shitty thing to be happening to library employees.
Yeah.
They're getting like personal attacks as a result of this, which shows how far right-wing people will go.
Yep. Absolutely. Not to mention just like when your job is stressful, it tends to suck more. Right. Like even if they weren't getting death threats, and some of them are, even if they weren't getting followed in the parking lot of their grocery stores, and some of them are, just showing up there and being a bitch to the librarian is stressful. And of course the librarian is going to like not like their job and feel burnt out. And it's just, it's destructive and it's terrible. And I hate it.
And this is why librarians exist, to help curate what the right information for people to read at the right age. There are school librarians because they decide what's the right information. They went to fucking school for this to help decide what should be shown to kids. And let's trust, it's just like in science, we trust our scientists. We don't trust our scientists. We should trust our scientists to say like what is true of science. Like librarians should be the people that say, here's what we do. Like, here's what kids can read.
Yeah.
Here's the right age for them to read it.
I mean, I think that's what the spike has come from, is just the right's hatred of expertise, right? Like they don't want facts that contradict the way that they want to feel. They want to stick their fingers in their ears and have the world be the way that they think it should be. And the expertise as something that you can put your faith in has just taken a total nosedive shit. So we don't believe Dr. Fauci when it comes to, no, vaccines do not cause autism. This has been studied. Experts who actually study the shit are unanimous on that. So shut up. And instead of confronting that belief, they then decide that, well, experts must be wrong, or that's just a different kind of faith, or whatever the conspiracy theory horseshit they want to come up with, so that they don't have to actually like bend to expertise. That person, like you just said, went to school for this. A master's in library science is required for most head librarian positions that I've come across anyway. And like that, it means that they are an expert in how to curate a collection, how to make sure that it meets the needs of whatever constituency they are servicing, what is appropriate for children at what ages, and all of that is solidly in their skill set. That's what they went to school for. Let them do their fucking job, Karen. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I think back to
what's a male Karen? I don't want to be like, there's some misogyny in there that I want to get rid of.
Oh, I think a Chad is already a thing. What does a Chad mean?
Yeah, Chad's not going to like PTA meetings and yelling at the librarian. I don't think. Like, it's.
I just Googled on Urban Dictionary. That's a phrase that doesn't make sense. I looked up on Urban Dictionary Chad, and the first thing it says is the region between the balls and the arsehole.
No, that's your chode.
And this, not according to the Urban Dictionary, it's Chad. A Chad is all of these definitions say it's the space between your perineum.
Maybe this is regional, Kyle.
Maybe. Interesting.
Is that what the UK maybe thinks?
I don't.
Chode.
I thought a chode was like a dick that was like thick,
really
but
thick.
like little. Yeah.
No, I've heard that too.
This is not what this segment's about. I agree that we don't trust our expertise, like our experts in fields anymore. And that's a shame. Yeah. The top 10 books that have been targeted for removals or challenged are the following. Number 1 is genderqueer. Apparently this is, I think, the 3rd year in a row that it's the number 1 book challenged for LGBTQ content and claims that it is sexually explicit. Number 2 is All Boys Aren't Blue for LGBT.
Okay. The sexually explicit thing, that's so wild to me because we've seen over and over and over again, just saying the word gay, they believe to be sexual. Like it's automatically sexual and it's sexually explicit. Like the mere existence of like, hey, those two dudes are married. They're like, it's sexually explicit. Well, again, I guess we can use words whatever way we want to and have no consequences for being wrong.
Right. Yeah. That just shows when they think about gay, they only think about sex stuff, which is like real shitty because there's so much more to being gay. Don't get me wrong. Love the sex stuff. Mm-hmm. Good, cool, chill, awesome part of it, but not the only part.
Right. Yeah.
Number 2, All Boys Aren't Blue for LGBT content and sexually explicit. Number 3, This Book is Gay for LGBT content. Sex education, which that should be a reason to keep a book in a library, not remove it. But whom am I? And sexually explicit. Number 4, The Perks of Being a Wallflower for LGBTQ content. Rape, drugs, profanity, and claims of sexually explicit. And number 5 is Flamer for LGBTQ content and claims of sexually explicit content. So you can see the top 5 books are all LGBT content and other claims as reasons why they're removed. So after our book, the next book you should go to are those top 5 banned books.
Well, actually, we should try really, really hard to get on that list, Kyle.
If our book was on that list, that would be the biggest promotional technique because there's like people have like challenged book weeks where they or like removed restricted book week or whatever. Like people promote these list of top 10 restricted books, and absolutely it would be a joy to be on that list.
If you're listening to this, please put on something ill-fitting and bad shoes and go to the next meeting and demand that you're probably gayish. The Truth and Lies Behind 17 Gay Stereotypes is banned from this school district, library district, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, you have to start by going to it's a process. You have to go to your library, request to check it out when it becomes available so that they know that you want the book and that they'll order it, and then write an email to the million moms and be like, can you believe this book is in the library, and try to get them to challenge it.
Yes.
Do a long string of really challenging activities to help us promote our book.
You know, we should send a copy to every single one of those million moms, since there's really only like 30 of them.
Oh, yeah. It would be a really cheap endeavor because, yeah, there are not that many of them. Yeah, totally. Oh, my God. We should send every winner of the Dick Bag Fuckface Asshole Award a copy of our book.
We could do that.
Yeah. And ever since we decided that we wanted to do, or I don't know if we actually like formally decided it, but like discussed the idea of doing an honorary like kind of award, I really want to do that every year. Yeah. Where you and I just decide who it is. I guess Derek can have a say.
The Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm here for
which
that.
we know which we know that this year's is going to Anita Bryant.
Shit, get your shit together, Mike. Okay. Yeah.
Mike.
I'm sorry. We're live.
We're live. Here we are live. Mike, I bought a new computer and the camera is like, apparently it's fancy to where if I move, the camera moves, and it's really distracting me because I'm watching myself as I talk.
Yeah. Oh, now it won't do it because you were talking about it. I heard you. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Wow, it's like magic, Kyle. This is riveting.
The future. No, let's do another 20 seconds of me moving back and forth.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I believe in you.
That's what I got. What you were going to talk about the Vito Russo.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we've talked before, I think, about the Bechdel test, which was put together just as a benchmark for understanding representation for women in movies specifically. And it's very simple criteria of like there has to be a character who is a woman who has a name and talks to another woman about something other than a man.
Right.
If there's a character that fits all of those criteria, then you like green flag, you passed the Bechdel test.
The other woman doesn't have to have a name?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe.
Oh, that's such a low bar. The only one named character.
Two female characters who have a conversation about something other than a man. Some versions of the test also require that those two female characters have a name.
Oh, okay.
People, though, have taken that rubric and applied it to other kinds of media, other kinds of fiction, whether that be musicals or television shows or indeed books. And
have you seen the Lord of the Rings where it's just any scene that matches the Bechdel, that fits the Bechdel test?
Are there any? I don't think
it's a 5-second. It's a 5-second clip. It's hilarious.
Well, and people have said that Tolkien might have been gay or latently homosexual or asexual, maybe, because it's all dudes. Like women are almost never around, and when they are, there's like no sex in any of those books. There's not even like sexual
how
attraction.
I live my life. Yeah, I get it.
So then there's the Vito Russo test that started to pop up. So Vito Russo, who is best remembered as the author of The Celluloid Closet, which we watched the film together and spoke about it on was it X-rated movies?
Yeah, X-rated movies.
Yeah. An early. That's a deep cut. That's season 1 Gayish.
Yeah, and it's not even our own it's someone else's podcast that we showed up on, so you got to be a real dedicated fan to know that.
Yep, absolutely. But so he wrote The Celluloid Closet talking about the very complicated history that gay people and gay representation has had with Hollywood over the years. And so the Vito Russo test, which was created in 2013 by GLAAD, had three requirements, 3 criteria. Number 1, it has a character that is identifiably lesbian, gay, bisexual, and or trans. Number 2, that character is not defined solely on the basis of their sexual orientation or gender identity. And 3, the character is critical to the plot. In other words, quote, the character must matter.
Yeah, you couldn't cut out all their scenes and it'd be fine.
Right. And so it's interesting because there are good examples of books that pass the Vito Russo test. Some of which were suggested to me include The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which is a reimagining of the story of Achilles and Patroclus, gay, focusing on a deep bond. Number 2, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. James Baldwin, a known early faggot of writing, explores the themes of love and identity through the relationship between an American man and an Italian bartender in Paris. Number 3, The Price of Salt by Patricia Highsmith, which has it's a groundbreaking portrayal of a lesbian relationship. Number 4, Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, a Pulitzer Prize-winning novel that delves into the complexities of gender identity and family history. I started that book and didn't finish it, and
just like me with Crime and Punishment.
Yeah, well, that motherfucker's long.
That's a long beast. Yeah.
Yep. But it's a good book. I want to find my copy and go back and read it. And then number 5, The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth, which is a story about a young girl who's sent to conversion therapy camp. Now, what I thought was interesting was there was a person who was critiquing there are books that are like super important to gay literary history that don't actually pass the Vito Russo test. And the number 1 on the list that I found was The Picture of Dorian Gray, which we just talked about, Oscar Wilde's novel. And they said, quote, while it includes a homosexual protagonist, the character's identity is central to the plot, and the story revolves around his moral corruption. So it's that second criteria there of like, it can't be the only thing about them.
Oh.
And same thing with Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. That was in the first list of books there, but some people say that it doesn't pass the Vito Russo test because they are defined by their sexual orientation, and the plot focuses heavily on their struggles with that identity. And then the last one on this list was The Hours. A lot of people like to say that The Hours it passes the Vito Russo test, or is good for representation, but it doesn't pass the Vito Russo test. It intertwines the lives of 3 women, one of whom is a lesbian, but the LGBT character's storyline is not central to the overall plot. She doesn't matter.
Isn't that Nicole Kidman's in that?
The show version?
The movie version.
Yeah.
No, she's in the book version. Nicole Kidman just shows up in the book.
You never know.
You never know.
Anyway, that's the Vito Russo test. I think it's interesting to me that there are ways to sort of say what representation matters and what kind of representation matters, and having a way to sort of evaluate that is pretty interesting to me. And I was going to have you like go through some books with me and see if we thought they passed or not. But then I realized that like I don't read that much. I don't read that much queer stuff, and very much want to. If researching for this episode taught me anything, it's that I really want to up my game and do more reading of queer material.
We haven't talked yet about our own reading habits. Why do you think it is that you don't read that much queer stuff?
Well, it's largely that I don't read nearly as much as I would like. I think that I enjoy it when I do it, but I have ADHD and I get distracted very easily. I lose books that I'm start, and my schedule is so...
Do you mean physically lose them? Like you Sometimes. Don't know where the book went? Okay.
Yeah. Or I set it down somewhere and then it's out of sight, out of mind. And like 6 months later, I'll be like, oh, I was reading that book. There it is. And my schedule, it's hard to carve out time for that, between the job and the podcast and traveling for work and a relationship and a house. Like I don't know when I would do it. It's just a matter of priority, though. There's always minutes in the day. There's always hours in the day if you can just prioritize things. I don't know. How about you?
I don't read as much as I want to. And I think part of this is true of all of my media consumption. I feel like I've had a blocker, like the bit of things that I read, gay things that I read, or even like watch TV shows or movies, like make me disappointed in myself, because as a writer, I feel when I watch good gay shit, I'm like, oh, I am really bad because I'm comparing myself to the things I consume. So like people will often recommend to me like, oh, here's this really great gay book. You'll love it. And it's like, well, you don't know. Just because it's gay doesn't mean I'll necessarily like it. And also, I've been struggling to consume gay media, so I don't know. It's a weird, hard thing to. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it. I mean, I think give yourself some grace, right? I know how hard that is. Like betterhelp.com/gayish, everybody. Like, you have to sort of, you're doing your best, you know, or you're doing what you can. And, yeah, I don't think you're a bad author, Kyle, or if you are, then we both are.
It's true. You're inexorably tied to me now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No.
Okay. I'm going to tell you about LGBTQ representation in publishing.
Tell me.
During a 12-month period ending in October 2023, sales of LGBTQ fiction titles totaled 4.4 million units, which means nothing to me because I have no idea like what I would expect the total number of units to be. But that is up 7% from the last year and up 200% from 4 years previously. So
that checks out, right? I think. Don't people love gay stuff now?
I guess so. Well, apparently people love young adult stuff. So young adult books have been the backbone of the growth. In 2022, sales of young adult books with LGBTQ characters grew by 1.2 million units over the previous year. And Michael Reynolds, who is the editor-in-chief of Europa Editions, said, quote, "One of the nice things about the moment we're living through is that it's not simply token acceptance, it's commercial success."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I have mixed feelings about. How do you feel about that comment?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I hate that commercial success is the bar. It means that we're not doing so hot, but like it is one measure by which I think that you can measure the popularity of something. So that tells you something.
Yeah.
No? Are you okay?
I don't know. I was just thinking about like, it's great that it's commercially successful. And also this is the downside of having corporations be the arbiters of what gets published or our representation, because they don't actually care inherently about about representation. They care about sales. Mm-hmm. So their incentive is based on sales, not based on the, not based on achieving equality for LGBT people, or whatever.
It's a slightly different version of the talk that we've had a couple of times of like straight actors playing gay roles, right? Of like, you might get a gay person to actually play the role, but if they aren't a big name, then will anybody go see the movie? Like Ryan Reynolds plays gay is going to get, it's going to be a box office smash because he's hot or whatever, but also a name that everybody knows. So you can either get your movie made and have it be successful with a straight actor in there or not, but we still get the benefit of the representation of a gay character, hopefully. And the hope is, I think, that you eventually move to a place where it doesn't matter anymore. And maybe the commercial success of books with representation in it says that we're inching closer to that world. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So let's see. I read something. I will just read what I read on the internet. A 2023 survey showed that among those working in the publishing industry, that's interesting to see, like how many people actually working in the publishing industry are gay. Of those working in the publishing industry, only 32% of employees identified as LGBTQ, which only 32%. If that's Jesus fucking Christ, if that's true, that's more than 3 times what was expected.
Right. That's like flight attendant gay.
It's hairdresser gay. I I looked at the source data and it was really confusing because it referenced earlier surveys that had different percentages, and it was really confusing. I did not find that 32% really clearly marked in the survey, so I'm not 100% sure in that data.
Mm-hmm.
But the article that I read about LGBTQ representation publishing said that there are several ways readers can support LGBTQ authors, which I thought could be helpful for those listening and maybe want to support us.
Yeah.
Buy their books, number one. That's cool. That makes sense. Leave reviews on Goodreads and Amazon.
Mm-hmm. That's super helpful. Please do that. Even if you hated the book, I don't care. Go give us a positive review.
Sure. If you hated the book, or just don't. Just don't. That's another option. Promote on social media. Mm-hmm. Request books at libraries. That's one way that I don't know that people realize they can do, is request that libraries carry it.
Yeah. And then request that it be banned.
And then request, right, exactly. Our multi-pronged approach to marketing success. And then attend author events.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it time to talk about our book?
Oh, no. Should we talk about that, or should I tell you about male romance readers?
Yeah, let's do that. Male romance readers.
How long have we been recording for? Should we, what?
An hour. We're at an hour.
Okay. I'm going to give you the quick version of this then. I won't give you the full. There's a lot of data that I could cover, but noraphoenix.com did a big survey about male romance readers, and 2,000 respondents are included in this survey. And of course, this is not a scientific, this is just a website that did a survey. So this is not scientific. This is not peer reviewed, but just fun and interesting. So what it found is that 87% of male romance readers are cis females.
Yep.
You seemed totally casual about that number.
I mean, that was going to be my guess. I mean, there's also like some crazy high percentage of gay romance novels are written by women also. It's like written by women for women, but gay dudes are the sexual vehicle. So that'll checks out for some reason.
Yeah. I love a good sexual vehicle. Agreed. Here's the breakdown of the orientation. 56% are straight, which a majority of, like, I know, like, some lesbians watch like gay porn, as we saw in the L Word. But majority of them being straight is really interesting. 56% were straight. 9 6% were demisexual, 6% were asexual, and 3% were gay.
Wow.
That's not a lot of gays reading these gay ass books.
If we are the target demographic, you are missing the mark, right?
Exactly. 10 books per week, which that's a shit ton of books. That's, averaging more than one a day. And let's see, the audiobook version, 32% of readers said they listened to and loved audiobooks. So a third of people listen to audiobooks.
Yeah. Which I kind of figured that that's just how everybody gets their books these days, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say. So we can talk about our book.
We got a listener comment that Logan Benton said, quote, "The Bible was pretty gay, to be honest," which that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Is that the first book that was gay?
I don't think so. I mean, there are no gay characters. There's no gay.
Doesn't pass the Vito Russo test.
It does. Well, also, to call the Bible a book is sort of the wrong. It's incorrect. It's a bunch of books, right? It's like an anthology or whatever. And they're books that were supposed to be in the Bible that didn't make the cut, and there's like it's not a book. I reject book as the word for the Bible.
Wow.
As books, it's the books of the Bible. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, let's talk about our book. I think we're having maybe technical difficulty too. You're like spazzing out for me. Thanks.
I am too for me as well.
Thanks.
Sorry, everybody.
Or maybe it's your internet. I don't know.
I think it might be my internet.
Yeah. Okay. So I made us a new. This is a new. That's if you're on the live stream, that's the cover. That's the cover of our book, everybody. You're probably gayish. The truth lies behind 17 gay stereotypes. So, gayishpodcast.com/book is where you can get it if you're interested. And, I don't know. Why did we do this, Kyle?
Why did we do this? I think we put out a weekly podcast where we are forced to, in a short amount of time, look up information about a certain topic and then kind of talk about it, which hopefully we correct ourselves enough to know, for people to know that we will often say stuff wrong or have to fix stuff later. Like that's the nature of doing a weekly show that you prep for. And I think it was really interesting to be able to take a little bit more time with us, to sit with it a little bit longer. And more time in it. And instead of you doing the history and me doing that, and I do this and you do that, like you cover the entire thing about it. I think that was a really interesting process that helped me dive deeper into different stereotypes. And we were able to then compile a list of, some of the top gay stereotypes into a book and make it available that way.
Yeah. And
what do you think? Why do you think we did this?
Well, because someone asked us to. No, we've been.
Was it me? Was I someone?
Yeah. I was so nervous going into this. Like I talk about that in the book actually a little bit, that like, you write a lot. You're a writer. That's a thing that you do. And that's not necessarily my thing. For the same reason I don't read a lot. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to contribute enough. And it was scary, but I think it made a lot of sense for us to do it. And I'm proud of it. If people haven't seen it or heard anything about it, there's a quiz that we have you take, and we give you gay points. So you go through and it's multiple choice. There's 17 questions, and then you get a score. But then there's a chapter about every single one of those questions. Every question is about a singular stereotype, and we go into why we scored it the way that we scored it. I think it's a really, I really like that as a format. It created a structure for us to work in, and I think it's a fun thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and then every chapter there are 17 questions, and every question then turns into a chapter. So the first question will then turn into chapter 1, and then we'll tell you how to score that question, and then tell you why we're scoring it that way.
Yep. Would it be okay if I just like read the preface or part of the preface? Because it explains a lot of like why we did this. And the preface: how gayish are you? So this is right before the quiz in the book. We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality, and we're also here to write a book. The whole experience is surreal. The path we took to get to this point has taken the better part of 15 years. When we met in 2008, we both worked for met as colleagues at a gay employee resource group event, and have been friends ever since. Just friends, by the way. We've seen each other go through so much life in that time. We've watched each other date, find boyfriends, move in, have fights, break up, move out, get married, get divorced, have surgery, struggle with mental health, gain weight, lose weight, have STIs, change jobs, be unemployed, do yoga, drink too much, do drugs, deal with sick parents, go to funerals, stay up late watching YouTube, sleep too much, have insomnia, change medications, worry about money, make questionable fashion choices, struggle to select furniture, install light fixtures, endure brain magnets, host parties, be absolute sluts, tip go-go boys, laugh until it hurt, fuck up cooking dinner, write songs, make movies, play video games, and lie to ourselves. If friendship means showing up, we've done it for sure. In the spring of 2017, we had the bright idea to start a podcast. You all are here. Thank you. We had worked on creative projects in the past together, primarily digital shorts Kyle would write and Mike would help with. So when we sat down to think of ways we could work together creatively on a project, one of us, and we're not sure which, suggested a podcast. We gave it a shot. We talked a lot about wanting to explore gay stereotypes and to really send out the message that, although we might have the image of what a gay man is in our imaginations, there's no wrong way to be a gay man. Neither of us have felt like we 100% fit into gay culture, and we wanted everyone like us to know that that's okay. We came up with a basic structure and bought one shitty microphone. We connected the mic to Kyle's laptop, pushed record. Mike said, "Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish." And coming up on 400 episodes later, the rest is history. Gayish was born. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. I said, though these 7 years of doing this show, through these 7 years of doing the show, we've talked about a bunch of stereotypes. Some of them have been surprising, others silly, yet others heavy. Slowly but surely, a little community built up around the show. Thank you again for being here, you all. And we realized that we had something to say that people were responding to. Watching that weird little family form has been one of the greatest joys of doing the podcast. So then in talking about where to take our ideas next, one logical step seemed to be to write about it. Well, a logical step to Kyle, at least. He's a writer. Mike was terrified. We pitched an idea to one publisher who agreed to start developing a book with us, but then he dropped us like a bad habit when he discovered we have an episode called Felching in our catalog. Eventually, we found a publisher that had not only listened to us, but wanted to put more queer content out into the world and liked our message and our vibe, and we're extremely grateful for that. In this book, we've tried to stick to our core values, irreverent approach, and commitment to our basic message that we're all a little gayish, even straight people. At the front of the book is a lighthearted quiz measuring just how gayish you are. However, we want to make it clear that this book and the quiz is from the gay male perspective. While we talk about all parts of the LGBTQ plus rainbow on Gayish, and we love our straight allies, and we love being allies to the queer sub-communities we aren't a part of, we realized early on when writing this book that we couldn't do this project justice if we tried to write all of the things for all of the people. We also want to make it clear that we're not doctors, psychologists, social workers, researchers, or scientists. We're just two schmoes that started a podcast. We've learned a lot about this stuff along the way, but not enough to qualify as experts of any kind. While we try to be accurate as much as possible, we've probably fucked something up. Let's be real, we've almost certainly fucked up multiple somethings. As the McElroy brothers say at the beginning of Mabim Bam, their advice should never be followed. Ditto for us. The point here is to have a little tongue-in-cheek fun, slightly less fun than tongue-between-cheek fun, and explore some very real stereotypes about gay men and their impact. Thank you for reading, and thank you for listening. Thank you for the opportunity to bring a little bit of our friendship and our message into your brains. That's why we did it, Kyle.
That's what that maybe better articulates why we did it than what I said. Just so you know, in our Patreon segment, Mike and I are both going to pick sections from the book and do a little reading for the Patreon. So if you are on the live stream, stick around. We'll be doing that after we finish recording. And we'll be doing, we'll be signing books at, someone asked in the chat, we'll be doing signings at our live events. We'll be selling books. We'll be hopefully finding some more venues to do some readings. So all of that is forthcoming.
Yeah, we'll talk about the tour and the dates and stuff after the jump, and fill you in on all of that.
Yeah. How do you feel? Today we're recording this literally on the day the book comes out. How are you feeling, Mike?
Angry.
Why?
Because all these motherfuckers have copies of our book in their hands, and we have yet to physically touch our own fucking book, and it's bullshit.
I have not seen our book in person yet.
Yeah. No, weird. It feels weird. It feels really weird. I think in a good way, in the best way. I didn't know what to expect this was going to feel like, and this is feels awkward or something. But I'm excited. I'm proud. I'm happy. I hope for its success. Yeah. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling excited. I think the more we I may, after talking about gay books during this episode, I may kind of take the plunge and actually dive into more gay books, and try to see if I can remind myself that I wrote a book and not try to compare myself to other gay books, just kind of let what I did be what I did and let what other people did be what they did. So
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I can do that.
There is a little bit of it's out of the bag now, forever, for the rest of time. We published a book. So there's something indelible that happened today / a couple weeks ago when people started getting them.
And we talk a lot on the podcast about ourselves and a lot of personal stuff. And there's stuff that I reveal in the book that I have not talked about and will be coming on future episodes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's stuff I put out into the world that I normally don't really talk about. Yep. So you can count on some personal info.
Yep. That's for sure. So did we do it?
I don't know. I feel like when I think about gay books, the first thing I think about is book bans. So I'm glad I talked about that. I don't know. And books and the book industry is kind of gay, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's something gay that's supposed to be cultured.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with
that. Or is gay. I feel like we didn't talk about that part a whole lot, but
but I think it's hairstylist gay levels for people in the industry. There's a lot more representation than there used to be, and it seems to not be slowing down even in the headwinds of culture that we're fighting right now. I think it's gay and getting gayer.
Gay and getting gayer. That's the goal of.
Oh no, Kyle, you're frozen for me.
Yeah, I think we did it.
Okay, we did it. Great. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's.
We're gonna write another book.
All
right, let's take a break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't look ready. You were pouring wine.
Oh, I could come back pouring wine.
Are we back?
Don't tell me what to do. We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest. But first, hey, everybody, listen up.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. Listen. like that fairy in Zelda says.
Sure.
I'm going to talk to you about our tour. So we wrote a book. That's what this was all about. The book was available today. And we are going to be taking this show on the road to schlep books and do more live shows. And I'm super, super excited to announce most of the venues as well. So we have solid dates and times for a lot of these, with one exception at the end. All tickets. Okay, hold on. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
So everybody, full disclosure, my basement flooded in not the sexy way. My
basement flooded, but it was hot.
My sewer main got blocked at my new house, and the entire downstairs bathroom overflowed. There was literal shit coming up the drain of the shower downstairs. It was horrific. Consequently, I'm a little bit behind on some of the things I committed to for this episode, and I apologize. One of the things that I committed to was having all of the Eventbrite links available so that you could go and buy tickets now. I will get those up by Thursday. So if you're on the live stream, you won't be able to get the tickets right this second. On Thursday, when the episode posts to the main feed, though, I will make sure that all of the links are up and available. So bear with me.
Which you can find at gayishpodcast.com/
Yes, gayishpodcast.com/book. So first, we are having a live book reading and sort of a cocktail party, food and drink extravaganza. I mean, it's BYOB. No, it's buy your own booze. But, but, A Stir in Capitol Hill of Seattle. That is Saturday, February the 8th at 6 p.m. And if you don't know what A Stir is, it used to be Capital Cider. And so that's where we'll be. But we'll have meet and greet. We'll sign books. We'll do a reading and just have some fun. The rest of these are going to have live shows associated with them. Saturday, February 22nd at 1:30 p.m., we will be in Atlanta, Georgia at Round Trip Brewing. Those folks have been kind enough to get us a big spot to do our show. Saturday, March the 8th at 2 p.m. in Chicago, Illinois, we are going back to Sidetrack. We had such a fucking amazing time there for the 6th birthday tour in 2023. We said, hey, can we come back? And they were like, yes. So we said, okay, write it down. And here we are. Saturday, March the 22nd. This one confirmed today. I'm so happy. Saturday, March the 22nd at 1:30 p.m. We are going to Washington, D.C., and we will be at Pitchers. And I think maybe we should deliver Dick Bag Fuckface Assholes Award to him while we're there.
Ooh, good idea.
This one also was a late confirm, but it is confirmed. Sunday, April the 6th. Sunday, April the 6th. The rest of these dates were Saturdays. This is a Sunday. Sunday, April the 6th at 1:30 p.m. in San Francisco, California. We will be at Oasis. And then the weekend of April 19th, we will be in Dallas, Texas. That much is certain, but I have not yet confirmed with a venue. If you were in the Dallas area and could help me, I would appreciate it. DM me, and I'll tell you what it is that I need you to do. But yeah, that's our tour. That's going to be coming up. Super excited. It's basically every other weekend starting in a couple of weeks. We'll be doing live shows until almost May.
Mike, why are we doing live shows? What do you like about live shows?
I love meeting all of these fabulous weirdos that listen to this show. It is a different kind of energy. Like I love the episodes when we have guests on. I love the episodes when it's just you and I. I love the live shows because they're another completely different version of what we do. And I don't know. I'm an attention whore. I don't know.
It is real fun to like hang out with people after the show because like never in my life have people waited in line to say hi to me until we did live shows. So it's really cool. Which is the very selfish reason to do it. But it's live shows are a lot of fun to like have these conversations in front of people to see what people react to, see what y'all care about, see what's funny and not funny. It's really interesting.
Wild, like the shit that like people do not laugh at that I think is hilarious. But whatever.
Yeah. Oh no.
Do
you want to do our? Oh, we need to do contact.
Oh info. Yeah, contact info. Well, I also. Shit. Oh, nothing. I just messed up my life here. Before we do our contact information, I did want to also read the thank yous because I think that's super awesome. Acknowledgements. The acknowledgements part of the book, I think, is important. So there are so many people that have made Gayish the show it is today. Thank you to our producers, fucking Dan and Derek Talene. Thank you to all the guests who have been gracious enough to join the show, especially Patty Johnson, a.k.a. Maud Johnson, a.k.a. Mike's mom, who is one of our most frequent. Thank you to Davey Wavy for being such a strong supporter of ours and for agreeing to write the foreword to this book. Thank you to all the other LGBTQ plus podcasts for the countless hours and all the dedication you put into your show, and especially those we've been lucky enough to appear as guests on. And thank you to all our loyal listeners that are part of the Gayish agenda. Your support means the world to us, and we hope we've helped make your lives a little more gayish. Okay, fuckers. Our website is gayishpodcast.com. We
are on social media at Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails. It's 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington 98109. Quick reminder to stick around if you're on the live stream and are interested. We're going to do the Patreon segment where we're going to do a couple of quick readings from the book.
Yeah.
Gayest and Straightest, do you want to go first?
Gayest and Straightest. Yeah, I'll go first. My gayest is, and this is going to be the gayest anytime I do this, refilling my DoxyPep prescription.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the gayest thing about me. I mean, any week that happens.
You've been having a sexual renaissance lately, so like I think just keep taking them pills, girl.
Watch out, Beyonce. It's my renaissance. My straightest is when I was searching on my phone for an app and I started typing GR and a couple options showed up and I did not select Grindr. I selected Grubhub. That was my choice for that night.
Oh goodness. Well, priorities. Maslow's hierarchy, man. Like that, you gotta get that grub.
Yeah, yep. Some nights it's like, do I want to fuck or do I want to eat some Mexican food? Mm-hmm. And I can't do both. So
I mean, you could, but
I could.
Might be ill-advised.
I could. Yeah. What about you?
What about me? So the gayest thing about me this week is knowingly putting on shoes that wouldn't go through the metal detector at the airport because they were cute.
Making your life slightly more difficult to wear cute shoes.
Yeah, these shoes are cute, and they have buckles on them. And
yeah.
So I had to take them off, even though I'm pre-check.
They are cute.
Thank you. And then the straightest thing about me
I can't believe. By the way, I can't believe you're in a hotel room wearing shoes. You just put your shoe back on.
I have to go eat something right after this, so I didn't want to get all comfy and then like not go eat something. Although. Work is paying. I could do room service.
Oh, what are you gonna eat? Do you know yet?
Well, I'm also trying to do keto, which is hard to do, but I don't know, maybe a steak.
I love that steak fits your diet plan. Yeah. That's the diet plan I want to be on. Steak and butter are on your diet plan. Although you can't eat pizza, so I couldn't do your diet. I couldn't do keto.
Boyfriend and I made pizza just the other night. We made a crust out of ground turkey and Parmesan cheese, and it was good. It was good. What was I going to say to you? Oh, we should go back to that meat sword place, that Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh, I have not been to a Brazilian steakhouse in so long. I love a good Brazilian steakhouse. I want someone to keep the meat coming, and I mean that so many ways.
It's permanently on green in your whole region.
Just green. My sniffies is on green. The dot is on green when I'm sitting at the table. Yes, everything's on green.
And then the straightest thing about me this week, I was uncharacteristically aggro on the plane this morning. I've been cranky because of the basement flood and like I was up super late last night and I had a crazy early flight. So I had to get up at 5. I was on like 4 hours of sleep this morning. Got on the plane, found my seat, sat down, and the dude next to me, it was a weird configuration. It was 2 aisle 3 for the seats, and he and I were on the 2 side. So he's in the aisle, but I'm in the window, but those seats are next to each other. And he is like full, like elbows out, like taking up the shared armrest between us and kept touching me. And I'm trying to sleep. I'm leaned back, eyes closed, and he keeps elbowing me. And I just kept getting madder and madder and didn't deal with it well. And I said, bro, I literally said, bro, stop touching me.
Wow. What did he say?
He did this thing. He's like, oh, okay. I said, no, it's fine. Just stop. Because he was going to go into this like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whatever. I mean, like, no, just zip it and stop touching me.
Shut the fuck up and don't touch me. Which is the opposite of what I say during sex. Open your fucking mouth and keep touching me. Okay.
That's hot.
I know, right? I don't say that.
We have some gayestesses and straightestesses from the live stream, which we can go through. A. Coleman, hey, good to hear from you. Gayest and straightest of the week was a twofer or 2-in-1, a 2-in-dot. I don't know. Straightest. After drinking a lot of soda, I unleashed the biggest, straightest man belch.
Yeah.
I do like that. Gayest. I immediately followed it with a fluttery sing-song. Excuse me.
I like your reading of "excuse me" because you could have read that in many ways. But Steve Douglas, hey Steve, said Straightest did a raid run with my guild and Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
I read those words, but I didn't understand them.
I understood.
And you got it. My gayest is we discussed which scenes we loved in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah. Talk about gay cinema. Did those pass the Vito Russo test?
Ooh.
Logan Benton said, Gayest, having a girls' night with charcuterie, burlesque, and wine. Fingernail painting emoji. Straightest, joining an all-straight pickleball league. What is it? Straight people love pickleball.
What is? And I've heard so. I don't know what it is.
Apparently,
should we do an episode on pickleball?
Maybe. It's had like this weird renaissance lately that like apparently some neighborhoods are cracking down on it because it makes a lot of noise. Like the sound of the ball getting hit makes a noise that drives the neighbors crazy.
James Learman says Gayest getting geared in leather to watch this live stream. Oh my God. Wow. I love that for us. And Straightest is playing with 6 different gadgets to watch, finally settling on screencasting from my phone to my big screen TV. Oh, you're watching us on the big screen.
How big's my face?
I know. As Mike leans in to make his face bigger.
Yeah. Rudy Gardia, hey, how's it going? I found the crochet dildos in the move. They survived the move.
Great.
Straightest, helping a friend get his car out of impound and jumping his car because the battery was dead. Car stuff wins the game again. And Gayish, could be that this friend is my boyfriend's ex, or while we were waiting for the battery to charge, we were both on Sniffies to see how it was in the area. Team Sniffies is great.
Speaking of, I'm going to read Tony Leatherboys, whose Gayest is cruising for men on Sniffies. LOL.
Yep.
Straightest-ish, flexing my muscles in front of the men's locker room mirror, shirtless at the gym post-workout.
Okay, Vid, sorry, it didn't happen.
Tony, hi. Nice to meet you. So happy to read about you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, everybody that was on the live stream. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all of your support, of course. Stick around for the Patreon segment. We're going to do a book reading. Speaking of book, hey, please buy our book. We would really, really appreciate it. And if the tour is coming anywhere near you or somewhere that you would like to plan your vacation around, please come to the live shows. Again, I'll have all of the links up for buying tickets at gayishpodcast.com/book.
Yeah. And I want to thank the following Super Gap Bridgers. Thank you to Locomotive, Simon Srirachi, Kaylee Adams, Kit Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squoggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Yost Dosel, Jonathan Montañez, Forrest Nail, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Cubbington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. That's it from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week.
Bye.
And on the road, y'all.